focused on automation and on threat hunting.
That sounds like a fun game, threat hunting.
No, I didn't have the nuts to do that.
Quantum computing, basically to tell people that they shouldn't be as worried as...
But then all of a sudden, everybody had to go home. There was a lot of, we'll figure it out later, which now has its effects on our security environment.
Here we are at SECCON, the security convention here in Utrecht in the Netherlands. And we are talking to subject matter experts around security. And I'm lucky and honored to have with me a colleague from the UK, Sam Samuel. Please introduce yourself.
Hi Stephen, I'm Sam Samuel. I'm from ET&I, Emerging Technology and Incubation inside Cisco. And I do quantum stuff.
You do quantum stuff?
Quantum stuff. Yes.
Is that like quantum physics, or is it?
I wish it were. It is all based on quantum physics, but we are looking to the applications of quantum physics in communication.
Oh wow!
So in particular, the thing I talked about today, rather, is the impact of quantum computing on communications. And you've got that look on your face that says, "What the hell is that?" Okay, so let me explain.
You know me already.
So let me explain. All right, so here's the story. The story goes something like this. Quantum computers are very powerful computers.
Yes.
The reason they're powerful is that they can do many computations in parallel, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's a lot more to it than that. But the reason that you can do many computations in parallel is because they use something called superposition.
Mm-hmm.
So us in the bit world are quite happy with zeros and ones.
Yeah.
They tend to be one or a zero, but not at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Quantum computers can work on a number that is 0 and 1 at the same time, which is kind of freaks you out a bit. And then on top of that, we get a probabilistic output. In other words, the way we phrase the question into the quantum computer takes advantage of these parallel paths and then produces a result very, very quickly.
Wow.
So why is this important? You may ask, and you may ask me now if you want.
Why is this important?
It's because now, if you've got the right algorithm, you can factor numbers very, very quickly. So if you're thinking about security, you can factor out numbers very, very quickly and break a code.
Uh-huh.
So here we are, we're in Utrecht, we're looking at security for networks, and now the question comes, could a quantum computer affect or impact the security of a classical network? The funny thing is, we're talking in terms of classical networks, which means there's something else coming down the road.
Yeah.
This happened to be quantum, right? So the point is that these quantum computers pose a threat to classical networks if the encryption we use in the network are not capable of withstanding a quantum computer attack.
Wow. So they are, if I try to understand this, and you are right, this is not my expertise, as you can see on my face, but if I understand this, the quantum computer is making calculations of potential outcomes in the case of an attack.
Yes.
And that is going to help you.
Well, sort of. It's able to, for certain kinds of algorithm, it's able to factor out numbers very, very quickly. So if we want to break an asymmetric key, so there's a public key element of it, can we break that public key? So, and if we were to break the public key, then can we get back to the private key, and from there, can we break everything?
Yes.
Right, so that's in essence what a quantum computer can do. Now, people in America, NIST in particular, have been worried about this for several years. So they started a competition in 2016 to come up with better algorithms that cannot be cracked by a quantum computer. They've had some success. At the same time, they've had some failures because people without quantum computers have managed to break the odd one or two of them. Set that to one side for a minute. But the point is that they now have a number of algorithms that they are quite confident are quantum secure. So now we're in a bit of a race.
Okay.
Right. You've got all of the people like me and others in universities that are hell-bent on making the best possible quantum computer as quickly as possible. And if they succeed, then there is a risk that quantum computers can help break the encryption of current networks. Right. Yeah. So there's a foot race on now. So NIST announced their winners in very recently. I think in July they announced it, which means now we need to get that standardized and then into product roadmaps and then deployed into the network to secure the network. Now, all of us who remember SSH will realize that to upgrade that took a bit of time. So we've got about 10 years, I think, rule of thumb, to go and get that done. And the quantum computer specialists have got 10 years also to get that done. Right? So there's a bit of a race on.
Wow.
Now, everything appears bleak when you say, oh, I've got a quantum computer, I can crack this, that's good, very good, very good. But the means of rebutting an attack we've known for quite some time. There was this guy called Claude Shannon. He kind of invented information theory, and he kind of said a long, long time ago, hey, if I make the key as long as the message, you're pretty safe. Right? So we've known what to do. The problem is if you make the key longer, you tend to use more computation in trying to encode and decode stuff. Okay, so the competition that NIST ran is not just about getting a longer key, or indeed a more robust algorithm, but it's also one that's more optimal for the environment they'll be used in. So it's not a simple choice. Now, the quantum computers, that's interesting too. So if you talk to physicist friends of mine and they ask about, we work at room temperature, they come up with a number of 4 Kelvin as being room temperature, which is, I think, is pretty cold. So a lot of the computers that are coming out there still require a great deal of cooling. Which means they're specialized. So to get a commercial computer will take some time. But I think they'll do it. I generally think they will do it.
It's going to come.
It's going to come, for sure. Now, the flip side of this is, well, if you've got a quantum computer, can we make a quantum network? One that's naturally secure to any kind of quantum attack. So why is this one interesting? There is a law in quantum physics called the no cloning law. You cannot clone an unknown state, right? So if all of your communication in that network is of that type, then nobody can listen into it, nobody can copy it. So there's a future element to it as well that I think is very intriguing. Is that going to arrive sometime soon? Maybe not, but I think it's going to keep people like me and you employed for many, many years to come.
Sounds
right?
good.
So I like that for that reason alone. I think it's good. Future employment is always a good thing.
Absolutely.
But in this case, I think it's going to motivate more science, and in doing that, we'll get to newer things. So here's the challenge for everybody who's going to be looking at this blog, right? And it goes something like this. The internet today was invented in the 1960s. And in the 1960s, all they wanted to do was a bulletin board. Okay, the young guys out there don't know what a bulletin board is, but you'll figure it out. Go look it up on Wikipedia, it'll be there.
Right.
But the point is, what we use the internet today for is vastly different from what it was designed for. My guess is if quantum networking takes off, the same thing is going to happen. Right? So 2 parts to the talk. The first part was, there's a threat posed by quantum computers because they are going to be immensely powerful and they can factorize numbers really, really quickly. And the second part is, actual fact, what's the flip side to this? Is there an upside to this? And I believe there is, but that's a little way out. And it's going to be a very interesting world if we go that way. Maybe in 20, 30 years' time, I might not be here to see it, but you might be just in time to see it. And it'll be very interesting what we're using it for. So that's what I spoke about today.
Wow, that is a very interesting and very innovative and also game-changing topic, I would say.
If it works, yeah. I think a lot of people are going, there's lots of problems here. So I think we have to be a little bit cautious, but if you ask me from the geek inside me, is it an exciting field to be in? Hell yes.
Love it.
Absolutely.
Love it. So this YouTube channel started in the midst of the pandemic. We were doing a Cisco live session and we couldn't do it. So we started in my basement. And
so your basement's famous now?
It is quite famous now.
Good,
yes,
excellent.
yes.
Good to know.
And by doing so, we were inviting subject matter experts like yourself into our basement, but that was remotely. And we always have 2 questions, and I'm going to ask you the same question. And the one is, tell me about your home setup. This is about your home network.
Oh no.
But then also I'd like to hear, how are you applying your subject matter expertise to your daily life? So those would be,
Okay, all right. I'm going to have to modify the second part of it. So my home setup. I have Wi-Fi absolutely everywhere in the house.
Good choice.
I took the liberty of getting optical fiber into the house. So I have gigabit Ethernet around the house, and I have as close as possible to the maximum throughput I can get for Wi-Fi in every single room.
Fantastic.
With no drops.
Perfect.
That's me on that one. On the other one, I'm going to have to modify a little bit because it's what can I apply, what I've applied in my life. Obviously, quantum physics, quantum mechanics. I couldn't honestly say I'm applying quantum technology to my network at home. But I started out with a curious question at the time when I was leaving university. It was to do with nonlinear dynamics, chaos theory.
Yeah.
So I read a book. It was, again, not a pandemic, but a train strike. So I had to get a book to read while I waited for a train. I got this book. And it was by a guy called Schroeder. And he outlined in it non-linear dynamics, which is basically chaos theory.
Yep.
That completely hooked, line and sinkered me. I then went and did a PhD in it, and it was the most fun I ever had doing this stuff, because it led to me being abusive on networks, being able to take over machines before they became secure in order to run simulations that took a long time. Now, if you ask me honestly, have I been applying quantum theory? No. But have I been applying chaos theory throughout all of my life? Absolutely. Every day. I'm living proof of it.
Brilliant. I love it. That's a great answer. So thank you for that one. And I think my last question could be in line with that, because I always want to know, tell me about one day in your career that you will never forget.
One day I'll never forget. There's two.
There's two. Okay, give me two.
There's two. Right, so the first day in the job, I was working for a company called Lucent at the time, and I was in an organization of theirs called Bell Labs. And so you hear that there's people who have got Nobel Prizes in Bell Labs and stuff like this, and you're thinking, yeah, okay, whatever, right? And then all of a sudden, I was invited to go to a meeting in New Jersey, and I didn't know what the meeting was about. It was to do with some wireless thing, and there was a guy who came into the room called Horst Stormer. Horst Stormer got the Nobel Prize. So one of my very first meetings inside this company,
you were like,
exactly. It was like, can I have your autograph? Can I have your autograph? Kind of thing. It's almost one of those moments, right?
And did you?
No, I didn't. I didn't have the nuts to do that. But it was honestly, it made me think. What surprised me is how humble he was. So he was just trying to understand. I got up and said something, probably because I was so excited to be in the same room as him. But he went, "Sorry, could you explain that again, please?" And so it came to realization that in my career, at least, you've got to listen a lot to learn a lot.
Yeah.
And he kind of exemplified that, so that was the first one. And then the second time, by some strange miracle, I don't understand why, to this day I do not understand, I became a Bell Labs Fellow. So I'm in the same place as Horst Stormer is also Bell Labs Fellow, so am I. He's got the Nobel Prize, I haven't. There's a big difference there.
But you're working on it, right?
No. I think the people like Horst are very, very special. I'm just an ordinary guy. But the reason I was surprised is that I never ever thought I'd be recognized like that. So when I was told, I literally fell out of my chair. That's a surprise. And ever since then, I thought, okay, how can I help other budding engineers achieve the same thing?
Great.
So that's it.
And you being here in the blog, you actually help budding engineers.
I hope so. If you're out there, please look at it. It's like, okay, it's strange, it's weird, and it's obviously hard. Stick with it. It's going to be fun, and I'm sure something's going to come out of it that surprise you. It'll surprise me for sure.
Fantastic. That's a great closing. Sam, it was an honor to have you here with me. And thank you very much for your time.
No, thank you. This is a much better basement you got now, by the way. I think it's really cool.
Thank you.
You got the wood paneling in, really nice. I'm impressed.
Yeah, it costed some money, but
and all these too. It's impressed.
Brilliant.
It's good. Yeah.
All right. So with that, thank you very much. I wish you a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Sam, I loved it.
Okay.
Absolutely loved it. I love your energy. I love your...